So, when you crack open the Gospel of Luke, what are you actually reading? Is it a history book about something that's over and done with? Or is it the beginning of a story that's still playing out, right here, right now? Let's get into it, because how you answer that question, well, it changes pretty much everything.
And this is the big one, the central question we're really going to wrestle with. It's a debate that has split New Testament scholars for a long, long time. Did Luke see the time of Jesus as this, self-contained, closed-off period of salvation? Or is it an era that just keeps on going, right into our present day?
To get to the heart of this, we've got to look at what's known as the Great Lucan Debate. And really, it all boils down to two major scholarly heavyweights who saw things very differently. This conflict is laid out perfectly right here. On one side, you've got Hans Conzelmann. He argued that Luke presents the era of salvation as a completed thing, a historical period that's over. But on the other side, you have Howard Marshall, who comes along and says, no, you've got it wrong. Luke sees salvation as an ongoing reality that kicked off with Jesus and is still happening right now.
Conzelmann's idea was a huge deal for a while. He suggested that Luke neatly sliced history into three distinct ages. First, the time of Israel, then the time of Jesus, he called this the middle of time, and finally, the time of the church. So for him, that middle part, that age of salvation, is firmly in the rearview mirror.
So what's his proof? Where's the evidence? Well, Conzelmann points to this very verse right here. He reads Jesus' words and says, see, he's drawing a hard line in the sand. This is the end of his ministry, the time of fulfillment, and the beginning of a whole new period for the church. It kind of sounds like a closing statement, doesn't it?
But this is where Marshall just brilliantly turns the whole argument on its head. He says, wait a minute, look closer. The verse doesn't say fulfillment is over. It says that even the hard stuff to come, the suffering, the persecution, that's also part of the fulfillment. So get this. The verse actually proves the exact opposite of what Conzelmann was claiming. It extends the era of fulfillment. It doesn't slam the door on it.
Okay, so if fulfillment isn't over, what does that actually look like in the rest of Luke's gospel? Let's dig into the evidence and see how this whole argument builds.
And the two models are just their night and day. Conzelmann sees these separate, neat little blocks of time. But for Marshall, Luke isn't pushing the end times into the distant future. He's actually stretching out the time of fulfillment to include the entire era of salvation, from Jesus all the way to now. It's one long, continuous story.
So where's the proof of this ongoing fulfillment? Just look at how Jesus answers John the Baptist's disciples when they ask if he's the one. He doesn't give some, deep philosophical treatise. He points to what's happening right in front of them. He's basically saying, just open your eyes. The prophecies, they're coming true right here, right now.
And this is a really critical point. These actions, healing the blind, making the lame walk, these aren't just pretty metaphors for the effects of his preaching. The text treats them as literal fulfillment. The powerful miracles and the preaching are the solid, tangible evidence that the age of salvation has arrived.
And who is this all for? Well, Jesus says he preaches good news to the poor. But this word in Greek, patoikoi, it means so much more than just not having money. It's about the needy, the oppressed, the people who have no earthly help to turn to, the ones who are forced to depend completely and totally on God. And in the same way, that phrase, good news, euangelesmai, it isn't just neutral information. It's a word that's soaked in the prophecies of Isaiah, and it carries this powerful sense of joy. It's the active, world-changing announcement that the promised deliverer is finally here and the kingdom of God is at hand. All right, so this brings us to the most important question of all, right? If this is the era of fulfillment, then who exactly is the person standing at the very center of it? Who is Jesus in Luke's gospel? Think about this. In his very first sermon back in his hometown of Nazareth, Jesus unrolls the scroll of Isaiah and applies this prophecy directly to himself. This is his mission statement. It's him saying, this ancient promise, it's about me. I'm the one God is working through to get this done. And here's the absolute key. The message and the messenger are one and the same. For Luke, Jesus doesn't just show up with a message about salvation. He himself, in his person, in his actions, is the salvation that was promised for centuries.
And Luke builds this identity using three powerful titles that are all woven together. Jesus is the final, ultimate prophet, like a new Moses. He is the suffering servant from Isaiah, not just in his death, but in his whole life and ministry. And these two ideas come together to define exactly what it means for him to be the Messiah.
Okay, so if Jesus is the Messiah who brings salvation,
what is that salvation, really? Well, it's all about the number one topic of his preaching, the kingdom of God.
Now, the kingdom in the Gospels can be a little tricky. It's often described with this famous paradox. It's already, but not yet. On the one hand, Jesus' miracles and his teaching are these powerful signs that the kingdom is already here. It's active. But on the other hand, he teaches his disciples to keep praying for it to come in the future.
So here we go again. Conzelman argued that Luke basically solves this tension by punting the kingdom way off into the distant future. In his view, Luke turns it into this abstract historical idea that, well, that it's lost its immediate relevance for us today.
But Marshall argues that this is a huge misreading of Luke. Yes, Luke absolutely holds on to the future hope of the kingdom, but his main emphasis, where he puts all the weight, is on its powerful presence right now. The preaching of Jesus isn't just a message about the kingdom, it is the powerful breaking in of the kingdom itself.
So let's bring it all home. What are the key takeaways from all this? First, if we read Luke through Marshall's lens, the age of salvation isn't some dusty chapter in a history book. It's a continuous era that we are still living in. Second, this entire era is defined by prophecy being fulfilled through the unique person of Jesus. And finally, the main event, the kingdom of God, is a reality to be experienced here and now, not just hoped for in the distant future.
And that leaves us with one final, pretty provocative question to chew on. If the story Luke is telling isn't over, if the era of salvation is still happening, and the kingdom didn't pack up and leave 2,000 years ago, what on earth does that mean for us today? Thanks for digging into this with us. We'll catch you on the next one.